Oscar, do you want to do August? We can walk 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour. And we'll do that every day for all of August.
What for?
To raise funds for guide dogs. What do you think?
We've just got Oscar's pedometer, or as I like to say, pawdometer, to track how many steps he does. I think it's probably tracking distance, but let's just pretend it tracks his steps. Oscar's very excited in the background. So let's open it up.
Oscar, you want to open? Go on, open it.
Alright, Oscar, here's all your stuff. We've got your pre-poration guide. They obviously love their puns, even more than me. Your pawsome. I mean, we knew that already, but thanks for the clarification. And your own pawdometer. Oh, they stole my pun. Wasn't very original, but
It's a cute dog.
And yeah, guide dogs. So let's have a look. I'm pretty sure this just clips to Oscar's collar.
Yeah.
But let's have a go. Do you like it, Oscar? You can't eat it. Hi everyone, it's Carl. I'm here with Emily.
Hi.
And Emily has been wanting to be in one of my videos for about 10 months. I'll try and find the footage of that from the Christmas party last year.
I've always wanted to be on the YouTube. Gonna have to ignore that. He never invites me.
Oscar, are you ready to go for your first walk in August? Yeah? You're going to help raise money for guide dogs. Ready? You have to walk 45 minutes a day. Let's go. Oscar, how was your first walk for August? You've done 25 minutes and you're meant to do 45 minutes a day. So you better get walking later on. Otherwise people aren't going to donate. And then the poor guide dogs aren't going to get trained. So the good news is Oscar actually completed his challenge. He walked 45 minutes a day plus for every day in August. Whether or not it was raining or really hot, he was a bit of a champion and completed his goal. So I'm not sure if he exactly knew
What he was doing.
Yeah, what he was doing. But he was definitely enjoying the walks, and
Sure.
it gave us something to do during another Melbourne lockdown because of the coronavirus. We're still locked down, but it looks like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Oscar. Oscar. He's camera shy. Oscar. How do you feel after completing August? Good? Did you enjoy going on walks?
When I say we, Kirsty, who's working at the moment, Kirsty and I didn't really complete the challenge very well because we were meant to raise money, and ask everybody for donations, and we didn't really do that. Did I ask you for a donation?
No, you never asked me for the donation.
So yeah, we didn't ask people to donate. I mean, we kind of hinted at it originally, but we didn't really push for it and annoy people about it. And I want to talk a little bit about why that is. Have you ever raised money, Emily? For anything?
Not that I can think of.
Like, what about when you were a kid? Did you ever used to sell chocolates?
When I was in school, I remember we did a thing called Mission Day, and we raised money for some charity. I don't really remember what. I raised money to go to Italy
Yeah.
when I was in year 11.
So how did that work? Did you annoy all of your family?
Yeah, we had the Freddos, and we used to go around school trying to sell them to everyone. But it was pretty easy because everyone wanted chocolate.
Yeah.
It was in like $2.
Yeah. Well, when I was in primary school, we always used to do the classic Australian way of raising money, where you sell the little chocolate. Well, that's but you sell the little chocolates and get a bit of money, and then all of the school gets really competitive to see who can raise the most. But it's always the families who have high powered bosses who bring the chocolates to work and then make all of their employees buy the chocolates. They always used to win. So I always used to get really upset when we didn't win because, my mum wasn't the manager, so she wasn't able to make us win that charity competition. Anyway, I wasn't talking about the fact that Kirsty and I didn't really raise much money for August, and I think that the reason why that is because Kirsty and I both don't really like the idea of raising money for charity. And I mean, it's got to sound a bit dramatic. So, Emily, what are your thoughts on that?
Why don't you like raising money for charity?
Well, I mean, that was being a little bit dramatic there. So, the thing we don't really like is we don't like raising money for charity for things that shouldn't need charity.
Yeah.
So for example, maybe why we weren't very good at asking people for money for Oscar's Porgist challenge was because the cause itself was to raise money for guide dogs. So Guide Dogs Victoria, they train guide dogs and they help people with vision impairment, learn how to work with a guide dog and do all these really important things. But the reason why I don't really like, the need for raising money for that is because with the NDIS in Australia, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, that provides funding for all of this support anyway. So, for example, if you're a blind person and you need a guide dog and you meet the eligibility criteria, then all of that cost should be funded by the NDIS. I don't think it's something that should be a personal responsibility. So, for example, with the NDIS support that I get, that's funded through people's taxes. Yeah. So, if your family are working and then they pay tax at the end of the year, a certain percentage of that goes towards the NDIS.
Yep.
And then that comes to me. So, say thanks to your family for funding. Oh yeah, and you.
And my tax.
So you probably you kind of fund your own job through your own
pretty much
taxes. And I do the same thing. So I pay money for tax as well. And taxation goes towards lots of different things. In Australia, we're buying some new nuclear submarines. So some of our tax money goes to that. It goes to roads and all of these things. But it also goes towards disability support. People don't like paying tax because it means you've got less money at the end of the day, which I understand that no one likes having less money, and people like getting money back in tax at the end of the year.
That's always good.
Yeah, but lots of people don't mind giving to charity. But I think, charities are a little bit like, in a way it's a bit like begging. It's a bit like saying, I need this, otherwise I won't be able to have a good life, or I won't be able to do this. And for me, that's just a little bit kind of old-fashioned. I'm a bit more in terms of social support, things like guide dogs and wheelchairs and all of that. I think it's more of a human right to have access to this equipment.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
so I don't know, it's just me, well, and Kirsty as well, but we don't really, love that we have to ask for this.
Money when they
Yeah.
already have the money.
Yeah, and so I'm ranting a little bit, but I remember when I was about 15 years ago or something, when I was having to raise money for my wheelchair modified car. So Mum and Dad had to help, raise money for that car, because at the time there wasn't the NDIS, and we had no way of affording a car which was twice as expensive as a normal car because it was wheelchair modified. But now with the NDIS, they will theoretically pay for the modification to a car. So now I don't need to raise money for that, because it's my right, I suppose, as an Australian citizen, to be able to get support to pay for things that would otherwise be an extra cost for me and my family. Going back to good old Oscar raising money for August, guide dogs are great. Dogs are really cute.
Oscar's really cute.
Oscar's really cute. And I think charity is really useful for things that aren't covered by our taxes and aren't covered by social security. So there are lots of causes that charity can be good for. But I think in this case, and lots of other disability related charities, I think it's a bit it's something that I really struggle with, because I don't think a blind person down the street should be a charity case, because they shouldn't have to rely on the donations and the generosity of strangers to be able to feed their guide dog. And when there isn't these social security systems in place, they need to do that, and it's a necessity in many countries. So we're quite lucky in Australia where we do have the NDIS, and other countries they might have to personally fundraise for certain things. You've probably seen lots of GoFundMe pages for people's treatment in America, and
healthcare system.
all that stuff. The end result is that we raised a grand total of $60, I think, for Oscar's August fundraising. And the other, issue with that is, what percentage of the $60 actually goes directly to
That's a good point.
to people with vision impairment or people who are blind. So we got about 3 or 4 phone calls from people, encouraging us to raise more money. My Google Home is talking to me in the background. But people, saying, how are you going? How are you going raising money? And the people calling up would be getting paid per call or an hourly wage. They also sent us this little pedometer, maybe this little thing. Could show everybody that Oscar was wearing. It's probably not worth that much money, but they sent that through. And they would have paid for a website to be developed, and like marketing and Facebook ads and Google ads and all of these things. And it just means that the percentage of your donation that goes towards the cause is always less than you expect. So it's tricky. So in a way, even though people might say, oh, the NDIS is a bit wasteful because they, pay money on people's wages and some bureaucratic systems and stuff like that. Charities not always, 100% of your donation does not always go to the cause either.
Oscar, sit. Sit.
Sit.
Come on. Good boy.
At the end of August, we got a letter from August. We'll show the other one first.
Which one?
The bottom one. Yeah, that one. So, we got a letter from them for Callum and Bella, which is not
Yeah, I don't
my
know.
name or not Kirsty's name.
Or Oscar's name.
Oscar's name. But they made a mistake and they sent the wrong information out. Lovely graphic designed bit of information, a brochure, certificate rather, and then they sent another one with an apology letter. So that was good. So
The apology letter?
yep. But I think, again, I think in the whole exercise of us signing up to August, them posting the pedometer, then sending the letter of congratulations, then sending the correction to me and Kirsty and Oscar, they probably spent a lot more on that exercise than we raised for the cause. So in a way, the whole exercise was not about us raising money for a charity. It was more about having an excuse to take our dog for a walk and get some cute photographs and videos. So I hope you don't think I'm a heartless person. I think charity is definitely useful for things where there's no funding. So it might be for some medical research, or it might be for income support for people who don't meet any eligibility criteria and stuff like that. But I'd much rather give money to something where there's no other system that should provide it. So if in Australia people are asking money for a wheelchair, I wouldn't donate towards them, not because I don't think that they need a wheelchair, but because I think if they've got a disability that meets the criteria for the NDIS, then the NDIS should fund the wheelchair.
Exactly.
And I don't like paying taxes, but in a way I do like it, because I know that my money goes towards causes that are important. Maybe not defence and there's nuclear submarines that Australia are going to be spending billions of dollars on, but things like Medicare and schools and education and all of that stuff, as well as the NDIS, which is really important. So I'm happy for my taxes to be high and my charitable donations to be low. And if that makes me a terrible human, then I just am a terrible human.
Can I ask something?
You can ask me questions, yeah, because I've been talking.
Yeah.
A lot.
So why did you sign up originally? Like, did it pop up on Facebook or something?
Yeah, it popped up, and we thought, oh, this would be a good idea of us getting out of the house. Because I think, Kirsty and I were both a little bit...
Because we'd just gone into lockdown.
Yeah, we were a bit sad about the fact that we're going into another coronavirus lockdown. And, it was a great way of actually getting out and about. So again, I suppose it was a really selfish thing. But not really in a negative way. But it was definitely less about the cause and more about giving us something to do. But I think often, when you think about it, when people donate to charity, they feel good about themselves.
Yeah, actually, that's really true. Whenever I donate, I feel good about myself.
Which is fine, I think, because you feel like you're doing something good, and you often are. But when you get your tax bill, everyone feels really depressed about it. But in the same way, you're still contributing towards doing good to someone. It's just maybe a bit less direct, and you have less kind of control over it. Thanks, Emily, for nodding along with my rant.
That's alright. Happy to listen.
Next time I'll let you talk.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm joking.
Sorry.
I didn't have much to contribute anyway.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have much to contribute to the charity either, so. Yeah, no, but alright. Alright, thanks everyone. I will see you soon, hopefully less than the last gap of about 2 months, but yeah, alright. Bye.
Bye.